So this woman is forced to rob a bank with a bomb strapped to her back. The story's wild. And it all starts with this guy, Christopher. And Christopher, he's a nightclub photographer, whatever that is, living in California, but that's not his only gig. The other thing he does is he occasionally robs banks. I guess he and his accomplices have successfully hit up a few banks in the past and made themselves a bit of cash. And one day in 2000, I don't know if he spent it all or what, but bro ends up back in a position where he really needs to make some money, fast. And so Christopher comes up with a plan to rob this local bank, and the way he does it is absolutely insane. First, he pairs up with his fiancée, this woman, Lisa, and together they pick out this nearby bank that they want to hit. Their plan is actually to kidnap an employee of that bank, strap a bomb to them, and force that person to rob the bank for them. Just like walk right in and clean out the vault. And so they scope out the place, and they identify their victim, the employee they're gonna kidnap, this woman, Michelle. Michelle, she works at that bank, she's actually the branch manager, and so Christopher starts stalking her, and they watch her and they follow her around. They're trying to learn as much as they can about Michelle and the bank before they pull off this heist. And months go by. And I guess part of their plan is to scope out the bank on the inside, and so Christopher schedules a meeting with Michelle as if he is a potential customer. So he goes in and he meets with her and he talks to her about investments or whatever. And when the meeting is done, on his way out, he leaves her his business card. It says he's a nightclub photographer. Now, since they're about to kidnap her, I don't know why he would leave a business card, but whatever. It's what he does. Regardless, Michelle has no idea what's about to happen to her. So she goes home from work after her shift ends like she normally does. And she lives there with her young daughter, who we'll call Seven, because she's 7. And so Michelle and Seven, they're at home, chilling, minding their business or whatever, and suddenly, boom, 3 masked men bust in through the door, and they're armed. And the men are Christopher and 2 goons that he brought with him. And so they grab Michelle and they tie her up with duct tape. Then they do the same thing to Seven. Then one of the men points a pistol at Seven and he tells Michelle, tomorrow you're gonna rob the bank you work at or we're gonna unalive your daughter. Now, while Christopher and the goons are inside, Lisa is actually outside as a lookout communicating with Christopher through a walkie-talkie. And at some point, Lisa informs the crew that Michelle's roommate is pulling up, because I guess her roommate is just now getting home. And so roommate walks in the house, and the goons, they're ready for her. And boom, they grab her and they tie her up too. Now, it's nighttime, so the bank isn't open yet. It doesn't open until the next morning. And so Michelle, Seven, and the roommate all have to wait there in this house as hostages all through the entire night, which I'm sure is absolute hell for them. And so morning comes, and they wake Michelle and all of them up because, it's time to go rob this bank. But here's where it gets really crazy. In order to get Michelle to follow through with this robbery, they strap a bomb to her back, like sticks of dynamite with a detonator and everything. Here's an actual picture of what it looks like strapped to her. And they also strap a bomb to Seven's back and also to Michelle's roommate. And so they've all got dynamite strapped to them. And these goons tell Michelle that if she screws this heist up, they're gonna set off all this dynamite and unalive her, her daughter, and her roommate. So, what can Michelle do? She's gotta rob this bank. So there Michelle is, driving her Jeep to the bank while Christopher is in the back seat holding her up with a pistol just in case she tries to get away or something. Then they get there and they park and they wait for the Brinks trucks to arrive to drop off a bunch of money for the bank to use. Because they fill up the vault with money every morning, I guess. Once the truck drops off a load of cash, Christopher tells her that she's got 5 minutes to get in and get out. And if she doesn't in 5 minutes, he's gonna blow her up. So Michelle goes inside and she's carrying a briefcase that Christopher gave her. Then she goes up to one of the tellers and immediately the teller knows something is off about her. Something's wrong, Michelle's just not being herself. And so Michelle drags this teller into the vault with her and she straight up tells her what's going on. She's like, I have dynamite on my back and I need to clear this vault of money or my daughter and I are gonna die. And she lifts up the back of her shirt and she shows the teller that there's dynamite strapped to her. And so this teller starts freaking out, but she doesn't want Michelle to get blown up. So she starts helping her stuff a bunch of cash into this duffel bag that was inside that briefcase. And they fill this bag with a ton of money, like $360,000. Then Michelle tells her, don't call the police, because if you do, they're gonna blow us up. And I guess the teller's like, all right. Then Michelle grabs the bag of money and she hurries out of the bank. And she jumps back into her car with Christopher still in the back and she drives away. After they drive a couple of blocks, he tells her to stop at the end of this dead-end street. And he orders her to get out, but that in a little bit she can walk down the street and pick up her Jeep where it will be parked. I guess he's getting into another getaway vehicle and he doesn't want her to see what it looks like. I don't know, these guys are weird. So she does all that. Christopher drives away in the Jeep with the bag of money, and a bit later, she walks a few blocks over and finds her Jeep parked, and she gets in it and she races back to her house because she's still got a bomb strapped to her, and so does her daughter. So she gets home and she busts through the door and she finds that Christopher, Lisa, and the goons, they're all gone at this point. But her daughter, 7, and her roommate are actually safe. They have removed their bombs. And so they cut the dynamite off Michelle and they call police. Here's the thing though. The bombs that they strapped on Michelle and the other two, they actually weren't real. It was like a broomstick cut up and painted to look like dynamite. And the pistols that Christopher and the goons were using, they were also fake. They were actually BB guns. So the whole thing was faked, like they were never in the danger that they thought that they were in. But of course, they didn't know that, so they acted accordingly. But at this point, Christopher and Lisa and the other goons have fled with all the money, and it just seems like they might just get away with this whole scheme. Until police end up questioning Michelle about all this. And she tells them that while she was being held hostage, she noticed the main robber's eyes. They're the same eyes of a man who came into the bank the day before. That man is a nightclub photographer and he had given her his frickin' business card. And so police are probably like, well, surely this guy can't be that fucking dumb. Meanwhile, Christopher and Lisa are now chilling at their home. And they only live a few miles away from the bank. And so police, they start surveilling them. And like a week later, they get pulled over in a traffic stop and bam, they arrest them. Here's Christopher's mugshot, and here's a picture of Lisa being interrogated. I don't have her mugshot. And months later, bam, they arrest one of the goons, then bam, they arrest the other goon. Here's one of the guy's mugshots, and here's the other guy's mugshot. And both goons get life in prison, while Christopher also gets life in prison, while Lisa is actually found not guilty. I guess because she didn't actually go into the house during this whole thing, so they couldn't actually identify her. So Lisa gets off. No prison time for her.